money, fame, or simply standing above all others, whatever one desires, the Tower of God can grant it to those capable of reaching its summit. This is the story of Rachel, a girl who overcame countless hardships to conquer the tower's peak and fulfill her dream of gazing at the stars in the sky, accompanied by Yoru, a devoted follower who had no wish other than to be by her side. In a dark tunnel, Yoru frantically chases after Rachel, finally catching her and pinning her to the ground. Yoru breaks down in tears, begging Rachel to let him accompany her. Rachel smiles, wiping away Yoru's tears, hoping he can forget about her. She needs to continue climbing the tower. Could Yoru wait until she is reborn? Rachel touches his face and slowly dissolves into flower petals. Yoru, helpless, falls to his knees and pounds the ground in frustration. Suddenly, a voice echoes, telling Yoru that if he wants to know the truth, he must reach the top of the tower. As the voice fades, a giant hand appears and grabs Yoru. Yoru awakens in a hazy room, jumping up and wondering where he is. The voice returns, explaining this is a place that welcomes anyone. A figure appears behind Yoru, introducing itself as Hedon, the guardian of the Tower of God. Yoru startles and steps back. The guardian of the Tower of God. Yoru immediately recalls Rachel's words before she disappeared. She also said she needed to climb the tower. Yoru hurriedly asks Hedon many questions. Where is this place? Where is Rachel? Hedon merely smiles and points his staff toward the ceiling, saying if Yoru wants answers, they lie at the tower's summit. Would Yoru like to take a test? This will determine if he's qualified to climb the tower. Before Yoru can understand what's happening, Hedon uses magic to transform their surroundings. Behind Yoru appears a cage containing an enormous fish. Hedon explains the rules. The task is simple. Yoru must enter the cage, get past the white eel, and destroy the black ball. Before the test begins, Hedon gives Yoru one last chance to reconsider. The tower is dangerous, not a playground. For someone as small and lightweight as Yoru, the chances of dying are very high. He can still back out. Before Hedon can finish his warning, Yoru rushes straight toward the cage. Suddenly, a girl appears and kicks Yoru in the face, saying strange things Yoru can't understand. Another man hurries over and, realizing Yoru can't understand their language, pulls out a glowing ball that envelops Yoru. Now Yoru can understand what they're saying. The man explains it's a life-saving charm in the tower and teaches Yoru how to use it. All these new things overwhelm Yoru with one surprise after another. The girl, Yuri, approaches Yoru to examine him. It seems Yoru is an irregular. What is an irregular? Yoru is confused. Yuri has to explain to this ignorant boy irregulars are people who enter the tower on their own. They should be extremely powerful. But why is Yoru so weak? At his level, entering that cage would mean certain death. A pale kid facing a test that even those on the 20th floor would struggle with. The difficulty is too high. Yuri asks Hedon to lower the difficulty for Yoru, but Hedon refuses. The simple reason is that Yoru is an irregular. This level of difficulty is to see if he truly meets the requirements to proceed in the tower. Yuri still wants to plead on Yoru's behalf, but Yoru stops her. Yoru thanks Yuri for her concern but insists he'll be fine. He then walks toward the gate. From behind, Yuri tries to dissuade him, knowing nothing about the tower yet walking in. Does Yoru have a death wish? Seeing Yuri's concern for this boy, Hedon suggests, why don't you lend him the Black March? Depending on the user, that sword can be either a piece of lead or a blade that cuts through anything. Raven immediately objects, saying only Jahad's princesses are allowed to use it. Yuri frowns but decides to lend it to Yoru anyway. Yoru hesitates, but Yuri insists, so he accepts. Then Yoru steps inside. From outside, Raven begins to tell the princess that this test has a very easy way to pass, but it depends on whether Yoru is smart enough to figure it out. The eel lunges to attack Yoru, who stands frozen. Yuri yells out a warning, but is stopped by Hedon interfere once more, and the test will be terminated. Yuri doesn't care. She can't let Yoru die like this. As she's about to rush in, Raven holds her back. Yoru is actually doing well. Running from this eel is impossible. The best way is to get swallowed by it. Just as he finishes speaking, the eel begins to bleed and is forced to spit Yoru out. Raven further explains the purpose of this test isn't to slash the black ball, but to help Yoru overcome his fear of death. spat out by the eel. Yoru quickly gets up and approaches the black ball. One slash, it seems it should break, but no, this thing is quite hard. Yoru tries a few more times without success. Yuri turns to glare at Hedon, demanding to know what he's really after. Hedon just smiles. He can't reveal that. Meanwhile, Yoru continues stabbing at the black ball, striking it while remembering the day he first met Rachel. It was the day he was trapped in a dark cave. Rachel was the one who rescued him. She stayed by his side, encouraging and playing with him during the most miserable time of his life. Back then, Rachel also expressed her wish. She wanted to see the starry sky at the top of the tower. Yoru keeps striking but can't break the ball. The more he shouts, the more the electric eel hears him. Yuri panics and urges Yoru to run. Seeing Yoru's lack of response, Raven hurriedly shouts for Yoru to speak to the sword, to ask to borrow its power. The eel is right behind Yoru now. Following Raven's advice, Yoru makes his plea. Immediately, a beam of light emerges, sending the eel crashing into the bars. A girl appears before Yoru, asking if he wants to borrow power to climb the tower. Hearing this, Yoru denies it immediately. He doesn't need to climb the tower. He simply wants to see Rachel again. This response surprises the woman. Though Yoru is simple-minded, just this once, she'll lend him her power. She embraces Yoru. The eel recovers and lunges to attack. But it's too late. The sword has destroyed the black ball, causing both Yoru and the woman to vanish, leaving Yuri and Raven bewildered. Only now does Hedon turn to explain to them the two have been transported to the upper floor. Raven protests frantically. How can this happen? Yoru still has the Black March. They must retrieve it immediately. As Yuri and Raven leave, Hedon gives the eel a final thought. It smiles mysteriously, increasingly looking forward to the events that will follow. Yoru wakes up in a dense field, disoriented. The voice speaks again, explaining this is the second floor, which will test whether he's qualified to advance further. It begins explaining the rules to all candidates in the area. This floor has a total of 400 people. The rule is simple: kill each other until the number of candidates is reduced to 200, and the test will end. As soon as the voice finishes, Yoru hears rustling nearby. He hurriedly crawls through the grass, hoping to hide. It doesn't work. A tall man discovers Yoru, pins him to the ground, and is about to strike when arrows from behind hit him, adding him to the death count. The archer who killed the big man now aims at Yoru, but takes a sniper's bullet. He continues aiming at Yoru, but is interrupted by another man claiming this is a hunter's territory and ordering him to leave. The man then breaks the sniper's gun and starts selecting his prey. Meanwhile, Yoru faces an opponent with seemingly too many eyes. Yoru is sweating profusely, gripping the sword tightly. From behind, a voice warns Yoru not to act rashly with that stance. He couldn't even catch a rabbit. Yoru turns, startled to see a white-haired man, who smiles and points behind Yoru, saying that's where the sword should be aimed. The crocodile man has already tracked him down, choosing Yoru as his first prey. During his time with Rachel, she taught Yoru many things. The most important one he recalls now is that when someone threatens to harm you, you must fight back. Yoru points his sword at the crocodile man. From behind, a blue-haired man suddenly taps Yoru's shoulder, startling him. Yoru jumps aside into a defensive stance. The blue-haired man points at the crocodile man, asking if this is Yoru's pet. This angers the crocodile man, who shouts loudly that he's not a crocodile. He's Rak. The blue-haired man doesn't care. A crocodile is still a crocodile, even if it knows its name. Rak points his spear at the blue-haired man, telling him to leave if he has no business here so he can hunt Yoru. Hearing this, the blue-haired man mocks him for being as ignorant as others, mindlessly killing just to pass the test. Does he intend to let others control him like that? Rak ignores this and attacks the blue-haired man, who easily dodges and waves goodbye to Yoru, saying this one is too hot-tempered. He's busy finding teammates, intelligent and powerful people to climb the tower with. Now only Yoru and Rak remain. Yoru holds the sword with trembling hands. Seeing this, the blue-haired man can only cover his face. From the beginning, he recognized the sword Yoru was holding. Indeed, he can't pass up such a valuable opportunity. From behind, the blue-haired man approaches, knocks down Rak, and leads Yoru away. The crocodile man, furious, chases after them, unaware that Yoru and the blue-haired man are hiding behind the many-eyed man. Afterward, they finally have time for introductions. The man is Kun, who extends his hand to Yoru. Yoru instinctively shakes Kun's hand, only to be pulled in and questioned. Where did Yoru get the Black March? It's a sword given by the tower's king to princesses only. Why would someone who just entered the tower like Yoru possess such a sword? Yoru freezes, remembering what Hedon warned Yuri's appearance at the bottom of the tower is a major crime. If revealed, she would be executed. So Yoru quickly conceals this information. Kun doesn't press further and leads Yoru along. As the number of candidates decreases, the stronger ones begin to face each other. The lizard woman fights with a swordsman. Her weapon can stretch, she yells to see if the swordsman can escape it. Escape? The swordsman smirks and deflects her attack. They engage in combat, completely ignoring a man nearby who watches the battle with his mouth agape. These fighters are too strong. There's no chance to intervene. Rak is still hunting for Yoru, but can't find him, making him increasingly angry. Kun leads Yoru to shelter behind a rock to rest and check how many candidates remain. Still 268 candidates left. Kun tells Yoru to wait a bit longer. Seeing Yoru still trembling, Kun starts chatting with him. Upon learning that Yoru came here for a girl, yes, precisely for a girl, Kun jumps up, wanting to shake Yoru's hand again. This time, they officially become teammates. Though he says this, Kun has calculated carefully. Yoru borrowed a sword from a princess. Staying with him can only be profitable, not detrimental. Kun further explains that when he heard the test rules, he knew some would kill others to reduce the number of candidates. But he certainly wouldn't want to do that. He won't let others make rules for him. One must create one's own rules to survive in this tower. The two are about to shake hands when Rak finds them. Kun startles and jumps out to block his attack, preparing for a big fight when an announcement rings out. The announcement informs all candidates that the test has ended, and the next test will begin immediately. The task is simple. Each person must form a team with two others within 5 minutes. Kun is quite annoyed by this only 5 minutes. He might have to team up with this Rak fellow. Hearing this, Rak becomes furious and attacks them again. Meanwhile, the lizard woman and the swordsman have also stopped their fight. Seeing them stop, the onlooker eagerly runs over to greet them. Knowing the task requires forming teams, he immediately nominates himself. But the other two don't care about him. They introduce themselves to each other and leave. At this point, Rak is still chasing Yoru and Kun. Time is running out. Kun turns back and asks Rak if he wants to team up with them. Of course, Rak refuses. He points his spear at Yoru, demanding he fight. Kun, not wanting to waste more time, draws his knife but is stopped by Yoru. If Rak wants to fight, Yoru will face him. Then Yoru throws away his sword, stunning Rak. Rak shouts, demanding Yoru pick up his weapon. It seems this one is quite honorable. He wants to fight, not kill. So Kun tries to persuade him, saying if he joins them, he'll meet opponents stronger than himself. Despite this appeal, Rak doesn't care. He knocks Kun aside and attacks Yoru. Only 10 seconds remain. Kun rushes forward and embraces Rak. Yoru immediately understands, dodges Rak's attack, and also jumps up to hug him. Thus, Rak is forced to join their team. In the waiting room, Rak continues to demand a duel with Yoru. Seeing this, Kun intervenes to mediate. He reasons that Yoru's sword is too conspicuous. If others see it, Rak's prey will be targeted. Then he gives Rak a chocolate bar. The treat is quite delicious, enough to keep Rak quiet. Meanwhile, a brawl breaks out. A man emerges from inside, ordering them to stop. Violence in the waiting room is forbidden. Upon seeing him appear, they must stop immediately because he is a rancor. Seeing Yoru still doesn't understand, Kun has to explain again. Rancors are those who have reached the top of the tower. Very few people have the monstrous strength like him. Examiner Liro looks around for a while and remarks that the number of candidates who passed the first 2 rounds seems a bit high, so he will reduce it. As he speaks, Liro summons a great flood that sweeps away all the candidates. The waiting room is split into 2 halves. In front of the candidates is a wall of water. The test is very simple. They just need to pass through this water wall. However, if even one person in the team fails to pass, the entire team will be disqualified. Upon hearing this, some shout that it's unfair. Liro doesn't care to explain to these fools. In this tower, the most important thing isn't strength but luck. They should pray they're lucky enough to find good teammates. Kun begins to calculate the crocodile man should have no problem getting through this water, so that just leaves Yoru. Kun turns to look but doesn't see Yoru anywhere. Surprisingly, Yoru now calls out to the examiner, but he's standing on the other side without being pushed back by the water. Examiner Liro immediately passes Yoru. There might be an error in the operation, but that's also a kind of luck. Kun knows there's no luck involved here. Just moments ago, Kun was standing right next to Yoru and was still pushed out here. The test begins, and the candidates strain their muscles, but still can't enter the wall of water. Yoru sits beside Examiner Liro, who suggests they make a bet who will be the first to pass through the wall. If Yoru guesses correctly, Liro promises to answer his question, and vice versa. The bet begins, and both look around before pointing at Anak. And indeed, she passes through the water wall easily. Right behind her is Hatsu, who also passes with ease. So Yoru has tied with Liro. Drawing with a ranker is quite an achievement, so Liro allows Yoru to ask one question. Yoru immediately asks about Rachel. Unfortunately, Liro doesn't know her. For his next question, Yoru wants to know about irregulars. The tower is divided into two areas, outer and inner. Only those chosen by Heidan are allowed to live in the tower. Those not chosen cannot. Yoru is someone who hasn't received Heidan's permission, yet has managed to enter the tower that makes him an irregular. While explaining, the sniper starts cursing loudly, upset about failing to pass through the wall and being disqualified. It's so unfair even an examiner would die if shot. Hearing this, Liro steps in front of him and summons water to surround the fool. This is the water pressure that all who wish to climb the tower must endure. If he can't handle it, it's simply because he's too weak. After letting him taste enough, Liro withdraws the water and returns, leaving the sniper kneeling helplessly. Now it's time to depart. Kun and Rak easily pass through the water wall. Seeing Yoru's two teammates arrive, the examiner prepares to leave. Before going, he turns to warn Yoru to be cautious of Kun. After the test ends, Yoru keeps staring at Kun, recalling Liro's warning. The examiner for the next floor has probably recognized Kun by now. It seems Kun's identity is not simple at all. Kun's past wasn't particularly happy either. He was once a devoted follower who fell in love with a girl named Maria, but was betrayed, leading to his family's destruction. Kun was exiled, and at that time, his mother instilled a rule in his mind: never trust anyone again. Lost in thought, Kun is called by Yoru, who is curious about the blue ceiling. Seeing that Yoru knows nothing about the sky, Rak bursts into laughter. Yoru wonders innocently if this sky will also glow at night. The answer is no, this is only a sky modeled after legend. If Yoru wants to see real stars, he needs to climb to the top of the tower. Kun then turns to ask Yoru why Rachel left him to climb the tower alone. First she took good care of Yoru, then suddenly left without reason. The whole thing seems very suspicious. Hearing this, Yoru shouts in defense of his friend. Rak joins in, teasing them both. Suddenly, a terrified scream echoes from the testing room, startling everyone. What was that? Shibisu asks his teammate. Hatsu, just by hearing it, knows it's the sound of someone about to die. As the scream ends, the next team is called inside. After waiting a few more minutes, another scream is heard. Kun frowns, racking his brain to figure out what's happening inside. At this moment, a pink-faced man squeezes between Kun and Yoru, offering them hints about this test. Why does he know? Simply because he considers himself clever. He points to the clock, explaining that teams who don't scream after 5 minutes pass the test. Yoru quickly understands and profusely thanks him. Kun remains skeptical, believing this man is just trying to plant thoughts in their heads. Their team is next to enter, and he's doing this to test his own hypothesis. Hearing this, the man smiles smugly and taunts Kun, revealing he knows about Kun's past and calling him the abandoned one. Angered, Kun pulls out his knife and pins him to the ground, but ultimately doesn't strike. The test for Yoru's team begins. Entering the room, they face an examiner and a large clock. Yoru points to the clock, wondering if it's related to what the pink-faced man said earlier. Kun tells Yoru to ignore what that man said, then approaches the examiner. The examiner introduces himself as Hansan. For this test, they must choose the correct door within 10 minutes, and they only get one attempt. He opens a large hole in front of them as a hint, then immediately closes it. Kun and Rak try to ask for more hints, but Hansung naturally refuses. The clock starts ticking. Rak, furious, runs and jumps around the room, with Yoru chasing after him. Only Kun tries to concentrate and analyze everything in the room. There are 12 doors total and a 10-minute time limit could there be a connection. Examiner Hansung brews tea while observing Kun, noting that Kun appears to be the only one in the group using his head. However, this test can't be passed by intellect alone. Kun still doesn't understand the meaning of the clock if it's just to track time. Candidates could check their own pockets. Could what the pink-faced man said be true? At this moment, thoughts in Kun's head begin to fight. One side believes the pink-faced man actually gave them a correct hint. The other side remembers his mother's warning. Trust no one. Kun tries to calm himself. They only have 10 minutes. If they don't pass, they'll all die here. Kun shouts to regain composure, only to turn and find that Rak has already kicked one of the doors open. It seems everything is over, but Examiner Hansung applauds, congratulating them for passing the test. The condition was too simple. They just needed to open any door within 5 minutes. Rak bursts into laughter and runs off, while Kun hangs his head and asks Hansung what the purpose of this test was. This was a team test. Hansung was well aware of Kun's past. He was betrayed by a princess and now trusts no one, refusing to act without certainty. But the world doesn't wait for Kun's certainty. He needs a teammate who doesn't hesitate, who is ready to clear the path for him through challenges. Rak shouts, calling everyone to move on. Other teams also pass the test one by one. The pink-faced man turns out to be someone Hansung had arranged, deliberately giving Kun's group a hint to see whether it would help them pass or become an obstacle. On the way forward, Yoru curiously asks Kun about that princess, but of course, Kun can't answer this question. After the test, Hansung meets with another examiner named Quats, who oversaw the first and second tests. Feeling time was wasted, Quats is concerned about how a single team of 3 people could kill all 397 other candidates in their area. This issue is too big if it reaches the king's ears. The first round examiners will certainly lose their heads, so Hansung must help handle it. Back to Yoru's team. Hearing Rak complain of thirst, Yoru volunteers to go buy drinks. At the vending machine, Yoru is too clueless to make a purchase. Shibisu steps in to buy it for him and takes the opportunity to get acquainted with Yoru's group. During their conversation, Shibisu opens up to Yoru. The truth is, they are both very ordinary, exactly alike. So Shibisu hopes they can meet again at the final stage. At this moment, Examiner Liro approaches, clapping his hands. He brings them a wonderful opportunity, a voluntary test for all teams. They can choose whether to participate. There's no penalty for declining. However, teams that pass this test automatically pass all challenges and will be granted the right to climb the tower. This test will be called the Crown Game. The rules are simple. There will be 5 rounds, with each round allowing one team to wear the crown, sit on the throne, and have their 2 teammates protect them. If they can defend successfully, they advance to the next round. If not, they lose, and the next round begins. This means teams that go first in the early rounds are at a disadvantage. Additionally, a team from another area will join them. Examiner Liro doesn't explain why. Liro lets the candidates choose their rounds. Shibisu doesn't want to go in the first round either, but somehow Anak presses the button. She doesn't care about going early or late as long as they win. It's fine. Only one team is entering this round, so it should be quite simple. Anak positions Hatsu and Shibisu behind her. She alone will handle this team. This angers the other team, who feels Anak is looking down on them. Only those with real strength can look down on the weak, Rak observes, and Anak is extremely strong. Anak defeats them one by one with her whip. A blonde-haired man tries to sneak up on Anak, and she directly offers her face for him to punch, yet somehow he's the one who gets hurt. Feeling they can't defeat this monster, the team changes tactics to steal the crown. But of course, they can't outsmart Anak. She jumps onto the throne, using her whip to create a tornado that blows the entire team away, then puts the crown on her head. Anak declares that as long as it remains on her head, no one can take it. The other team can no longer fight, so the first round ends here. In the waiting room, Yoru suddenly discovers something. He runs to the gate and shouts Rachel's name. This surprises Kun, who asks Yoru if this is the girl he's looking for. Yoru's face softens. It seems he was mistaken. Since the challenging team cannot continue, Examiner Liro starts the next round immediately. Shibisu runs to Anak, reasoning that since he's the weakest team member and Anak is the strongest, it makes sense for him to sit on the throne. Hearing this, Examiner Liro warns their team. According to the rules, once someone sits on the throne, if they get off for any reason, they lose. All rules are clearly posted in the waiting room. Just this once, he'll remind them. Rak, curious, runs out to read them. There are two important things to remember. First, what the examiner mentioned, and second, not to enter other teams' waiting rooms. Shibisu falls to his knees. This is disastrous. How can they protect the throne now? Seeing this, Hatsu turns to encourage him. What's there to worry about? They just need to defend the throne with Hatsu's killing techniques. Shibisu's face goes blank. Does this guy actually believe the boasts he made? Shibisu embraces Hatsu deeply. Indeed, he has chosen good teammates. The waiting time ends, and the next round will begin in 5 seconds. Rak wants to jump into the fight, but Kun holds him back. Now is not the time. He bribes Rak with 10 chocolate bars to wait longer. Shibisu takes a defensive position, praying there won't be too many participants this round. As the 5 seconds end, the gates of other teams begin to open. This time, 2 teams want to play. First, the team of the four-eyed man, then the team of the girl who likes to tease Shibisu. This girl's team has a member who only sleeps. Shibisu teases her back, but she hardly cares. Dealing with Shibisu alone doesn't require all 3 of them. Shibisu will have to block this team, while Hatsu will deal with the four-eyed man's team. The battle begins. The Birdman and the one with the mohawk rush to attack Hatsu. Hatsu throws one of his swords into the air, then launches a powerful attack that sends the Birdman flying. Taking advantage of this, the mohawk man approaches Hatsu. Hatsu immediately strikes him with his sword, startling him into blocking. But the difference in strength is too great. With just one blow, Hatsu has destroyed the mohawk man's weapon. Kun and Yoru watch, sweating. These guys are too formidable. How can they defeat them now? Feeling it's taking too long, Hatsu calls for the entire team to come at once. Hearing this, the four-eyed man finally makes his move, ready to use his blazing fist. On Shibisu's side, he's now facing 2 women but still holding up well. While fighting, Shibisu analyzes them. These 2 don't seem overly strong. He can certainly hold them back. The important thing is the sleeping man. Just by looking, one can tell he's very powerful. Shibisu must pay close attention to his movements. Due to this distraction, Shibisu exposes a weakness. The horned girl seizes the opportunity to grab Shibisu from behind, allowing Serena to deliver the finishing blow. Unable to break free, Shibisu closes his eyes tightly, apologizing to Anak and Hatsu. After waiting and feeling nothing, he finally opens his eyes. Turns out Hatsu has already saved him. Shibisu embraces Hatsu gratefully, while Serena angrily shouts, wondering how Hatsu appeared on their side. She turns to look at the other team, who are already all knocked out. Hatsu now asks Shibisu about the final member of this team. Shibisu points to that man. He's still sleeping, so there's nothing to worry about. This battle is quite fun, Rak says, still not understanding why Kun stopped him. Seeing this, Kun explains to everyone they should have entered this round. For those sitting on the throne, they can only face difficulties in rounds 1, 2, and at most round 3. By rounds 4 and 5, there will be too many teams, and they'll have to deal with all of them. So, sitting on the throne early is actually advantageous. Back in Serena's team's waiting room a moment ago, a sleep lover like Laura had already realized this and wanted to enter early. Serena and the horned girl were still worried. Even if they entered early, would they be able to take the crown from Anak? Laura had calculated this. Serena and the horned girl's task was simply to keep Shibisu and Hatsu away from the throne. Now Laura has awakened, silently gathering power in his palm. He sits up and points at Anak. Hatsu, startled, shouts a warning to Anak that this man can use Shinsu divine water. A massive stream of water shoots straight at the throne, forcing Anak to jump into the air to dodge. Seizing this opportunity, Serena and the horned girl rush to attack Anak. Hatsu and Shibisu also rush to protect her, but are blocked by Laura's water stream. After the attack, Anak still stands firmly on the throne. Being rudely awakened has angered Anak greatly. She enlarges her whip and declares she will kill Laura. Anak's whip swings wildly across the arena. At this moment, in Kun's team's waiting room, the black march in Yoru's hand trembles violently. The cloth covering it bursts open, releasing an aura that makes Anak immediately recognize it. She abruptly stops her attack and turns to look at their waiting room. Taking advantage of this, Serena and the horned girl pull Laura away to escape. They don't need to risk their lives for a game. Even if they lose, it doesn't matter. Kun rushes to Yoru to check the situation. Yoru is straining every muscle in his arm to control the Black March. A loud explosion rings out as Anak shatters the door of Kun's team's waiting room and enters. She glares at Yoru, demanding to know why the Black March is in Yoru's hands. He is completely unworthy of it. Shibisu appears beside Anak, pressing against her ear and complaining, "How could Anak abandon the battle for a sword?" Anak immediately squeezes Shibisu's hand and explains, "That is the Black March, one of the 13 months forged by master craftsmen, given by King Jahad to his princesses. As for how Anak detected it, it's simple. Her weapon is also one of the 13 months, the Green April." Anak holds it up for everyone to see, declaring herself a princess of King Jahad. Then Anak demands Yoru return the sword to her. Naturally, Yoru refuses, angering Anak. She's about to teach Yoru a lesson when Examiner Liro appears, stating that such things are not allowed here. Shibisu fearfully begs Anak not to provoke him. Anak understands and instead challenges Yoru to a bet. Whichever team wins gets to keep both swords. Yoru immediately refuses. He has no reason to bet. Anak begins to threaten him. She may not have a reason, but she does. If he doesn't bet, after this game ends, she'll kill Yoru to take back the sword. Not wanting to create more trouble for Rak and Kun, Yoru reluctantly agrees to her demand. Examiner Liro takes back the crown and prepares for the next round. Now it's time to participate in this game. Kun and Rak leave the waiting room. Yoru still feels guilty for causing them trouble, but Kun thinks the opposite. This is the perfect opportunity. Anak has left the throne. It's time to end this game. Kun turns to praise Yoru for doing very well earlier. He thought Yoru would return the Black March. Yoru is tougher than his weak appearance suggests. That's why he's an irregular. The third round begins. As soon as Anak leaves the throne, other teams simultaneously join in. This round has 4 teams. They don't care about the others but rush straight to the throne. Suddenly, a gust of wind appears, blocking their path. Kun appears before them with the crown in hand. Kun was about to put it on his head, but ultimately puts it in his pocket. Then Kun begins to taunt the other teams. If they want the throne, they must defeat him first. This infuriates the other teams, who rush at Kun together. It seems like Kun might heroically take on all 3, but no. After blocking a few moves, Kun throws the crown away and sits comfortably on the throne, watching them kill each other. Seeing the crown, the other teams immediately ignore Kun and rush to fight each other for it, making Kun laugh. These fools still haven't realized? Hearing this, they angrily turn to look at Kun. Somehow, Yoru is now sitting on the throne, and in Kun's hand is another crown. Confusing everyone, are there 2 crowns? In the waiting room of the team from another area, they are also preparing to enter the next round. Shibisu is tremendously impressed with Kun's performance. To win, one must be the first to claim the throne, and Kun accomplished that. However, just claiming the crown doesn't mean they can protect it. So Kun diverted attention by creating numerous fake crowns. So Kun's bag has the ability to replicate objects. The other teams look bewildered at the crown on Yoru's head and the pile of crowns behind them. Which one is real? Just as they wonder, the pile of crowns behind them begins to vanish. Angry, they shout at each other to eliminate that annoying blue-haired guy together. They all charge forward to attack, but Rak blocks them. "Don't touch my prey," Rak yells, then throws a spear straight at them. Though it doesn't hit, the spear is thrown with supersonic speed. The wind created by its path is enough to knock down the entire group. None can fight anymore. Round 3 ends, and round 4 begins immediately after. The team from the other area was about to enter the field now. Seeing Yoru's cheerful smile makes them quite uncomfortable. Is he that confident in his abilities? If so, they'll enter in the final round to shatter that confidence. The game only gets interesting from this round. While waiting for the next round, Rak is curious about Kun's bag. Can it really replicate things? Wouldn't that mean unlimited chocolate for him to eat? Kun immediately denies this. Nothing is unlimited. Earlier, he was just bluffing to intimidate Anak, to show her they aren't easy targets. The waiting time ends, and round 4 officially begins. 3 more teams join this round. Rak, excited, grabs his spear, ready to take them all on, but Kun stops him. It's unnecessary, the strongest teams will participate in the final round. They should rest and conserve energy for now. Then Kun jumps onto the throne and lies across Yoru's lap. Down below, a red-haired man speaks up, extending an alliance invitation to the other 2 teams. First, they'll team up to seize the throne from Kun, then compete fairly among themselves. Before the other team can agree, the Mohawk man rushes to attack them. This angers the red-haired man, who shouts, "What's this? Why so hasty?" Kun lies calmly, hardly concerned. He's known this would happen all along. Those who just attacked are their allies. Kun reminds Yoru about the first test, the one reducing 400 people to 200. Kun didn't like that test's rules at all, so he helped the injured by putting them in his bag, on the condition that they would help him when he asked. Fortunately, the next test had just the right conditions for them to form a team. After the third test, Examiner Hansung discovered 3 people in Kun's bag, so Kun released them in the waiting room of the next test. Earlier, when Kun tied his hair up, that was the signal to ask for their help. The allied group quickly defeated the red-haired man's team, then went straight into the waiting room. Thus, round 4 ended with victory for Kun's team. In the waiting room, Shibisu stands observing with folded arms. He's quite impressed with Kun's performance. Seeing Anak say nothing, he teases her, only to get squeezed in the mouth, yelping in pain. Since it's the final round, without Examiner Lero having to remind them, the other teams step onto the field. One thing is certain, all these teams are very strong. Rak and Kun each stand on one side protecting Yoru. Before Examiner Lero can signal the start, a person in black with a staff rushes forward, attacking the many-eyed man's team. Caught by surprise, one team member immediately collapses. The other 2 struggle to defend, but they're outmatched. Kun reminds Rak that, as predicted, after eliminating the many-eyed man's team, she's targeting the crocodile next. After exchanging a few moves, Rak gets a knock on the mouth. She bypasses him and jumps toward Yoru. Unexpectedly, at this moment, someone from the team from the other area rushes out to block her. Kun is also puzzled why they're helping. Distraction in battle is fatal. Kun nearly gets hit. Another team is now targeting him. Seeing his teammates fighting, Yoru looks around frantically. The hooded girl from the team from the other area speaks to Yoru, telling him not to worry, they won't steal his crown. This voice, "Is it Rachel?" Yoru exclaims. With someone helping against the woman in black, Rak quickly returns to help Kun fight the remaining team. While fighting, Rak asks Kun if he bribed the other team. Of course not, they're from another area. How could he bribe them? Kun doesn't know their purpose, but he's certain of one thing. They'll win this game because those others don't care about the crown at all. Hearing this, the crocodile grabs the boxer's head and throws him straight into the wall. Kun also takes care of the dual sword man. Meanwhile, the woman in black is fighting someone from the other area. During the exchange, she taunts the hooded woman, saying she'll rip off her mask before defeating her, to see if there's a pretty face or an ugly one underneath. On Yoru's side, he's still trying to call Rachel. Many thoughts run through his mind. If the person before him is truly Rachel, he has no reason to continue climbing the tower. The brown-haired woman says the game is over now. About to finish off the hooded woman, her high heels suddenly break, causing her to sprawl out. Taking advantage, the hooded woman bypasses her and lunges forward, jumping right over the big man blocking Yoru to reach him. It seems she's about to strike Yoru, but unexpectedly, she turns to attack Rachel instead. Rachel, surprised, can only dodge but still takes a hit. She falls backward, her hood coming undone. "It really is Rachel," Yoru shouts, jumping to block the attack for her. Ignoring the game, Yoru takes a blow to the head and falls, blood beginning to flow. At this moment, memories of Rachel flash through Yoru's mind. Immediately, a terrifying light appears, enveloping Yoru and Rachel. The attacker, startled, can't dodge in time. After the light ends, her mask is shattered, and she's severely injured, kneeling down. Yoru, sword in hand, is about to finish her off. At this moment, time around Yoru suddenly freezes. The girl from the Black March appears, kisses Yoru's cheek, and puts him to sleep. Meanwhile, Yuri is still trying to find her way down to the testing area. Despite the difficulty, she's determined to meet Yoru. After the crown game ends, Yoru is taken to the recovery room. Examiner Liro meets with Examiner Hansung. First to report the game results, no one won, then to ask why this test was created. Hansung explains everything was caused by Quats. That group from the other area had killed all candidates in their area, so they needed to accelerate the process of making them legal tower climbers before this information reached Lord Evankel. That was their purpose. With that strength, Hansung thought they could win the crown game, but somehow they weren't interested in the game, and instead helped Yoru's team. Liro had privately guessed this. It seems they knew Yoru from before. Then Liro mentions the tower's rules established by Hedon. Acquaintances are not allowed to participate in the same test. Hearing this, Hansung enlightens Liro. The examiner's purpose isn't to test qualification for climbing the tower. They're here to find those capable of breaking the rules. Mentioning this, Liro immediately thinks of Yoru. The power that erupted then was truly uncontrollable. Ending the conversation, Liro returns with countless puzzling questions. But one thing he's sure of, Yoru's power is a threat to the tower. Yoru is still unconscious, with Kun beside him hoping for his quick recovery. Tomorrow is the day of the test. If Yoru doesn't wake up, the entire team will be disqualified. While praying, there's a doorbell ring. Kun checks. Surprisingly, it's Rachel. She's come to ask Kun for help with something. Though Yoru has never seen a starry sky, Rachel could still imagine what it would be like and showed him. A sky full of bright, twinkling stars. In his dream, Yoru still remembers Rachel, truly a devoted follower. Now Rachel is right beside him, but Yoru still doesn't wake up. She explains to Kun how they met. Kun seems a bit irritated, telling Rachel to skip the introductions and get to the point. This time, Rachel is here to ask Kun to hide her presence, which puzzles Kun even more. He moves closer to Rachel, questioning, if she doesn't want to meet Yoru, why help him in the crown game? Rachel sighs and answers that's precisely the reason they knew each other before, and if they met again, they would certainly become each other's burden. After the conversation with Rachel, Kun remembers Maria, not wanting to be each other's burden. While pondering, Kun hears noise outside the door. It's Rak. Seeing Kun emerge, Rak hurriedly steps aside, explaining he didn't come here because he was worried about Yoru. Anak is also facing a problem. Though she's obtained the Black March, she can't control it because the Black March only wants to talk to men. So Anak brings it before Shibisu for him to speak on her behalf. Somehow, just touching the sword gives Shibisu a shock, turning him black. Turns out it's not just any man, it has to be a handsome man for the Black March to converse with. Seeing no effect, Anak takes the sword and leaves. Just as she steps out the door, she bumps into the brown-haired woman. Seeing Anak, she immediately taunts her. The Black March belongs to Princess Yuri of King Jihad, one of the most prominent and powerful princesses in this tower. If Yuri knew her sword was being held by a fake princess, Anak would surely die. Hearing this, Anak angrily turns to attack the brown-haired woman. In Kun's team's waiting room, Rak, unable to find chocolate anywhere, is quite annoyed. He turns to Yoru, threatening that if he doesn't wake up, he'll eat him. Apparently Yoru hears this threat and wakes up immediately. Kun runs over to check on Yoru, then mentions the test that had already taken place yesterday, and it seems Yoru is a lucky one. Going back to yesterday when the test took place, Examiner Liro explained the rules to everyone. When they fight in the tower, it will be a team battle, and the positions of team members are essential. A team is divided into 5 positions. First, the fishermen, those who fight in close combat at the center. Spear bearer, those who kill enemies from a distance. Light bearer, those who illuminate the lighthouse and relay information to teammates. Scout, those who observe all enemy actions and report back to the fishermen. And finally, wave controller, those who use Shinsu to support combat or control opponents. Depending on their chosen position, they will be trained differently. At this point, Kun spoke up to ask Examiner Liro about Yoru's case. Examiner Liro, regardless of whether Yoru was injured, late, or absent, would consider him disqualified by default. But fortunately, Yoru's position is wave controller, and coincidentally, the training teacher Yugo had an urgent matter and was late, so the wave controller class would be rescheduled to start 2 days later. Before Yoru can speak, Kun immediately mentions Rachel, letting Yoru know he asked, and she completely doesn't know who Yoru is. It seems Yoru mistook someone else for her. Then Kun advises Yoru not to worry further. Just continue climbing the tower, and there will come a time when he'll meet her again. Then Kun pulls out a shirt as a gift for Yoru. During the meal, Kun mentions Rachel again. Supposing that person was indeed Rachel, if she doesn't recognize Yoru, it proves she doesn't want to see him again. If Yoru wants to meet her again, Kun can only advise him to become stronger. The Wave Controller class begins. Today, Teacher Yugo will teach them how to make a covenant with Shinsu. Everyone follows the teacher's order to take out their pockets and recite the spell to begin the covenant. Before Yoru appears a gigantic water monster. It seems quite interested in Yoru and doesn't hesitate to make a covenant with him. However, there's one thing it needs to tell Yoru for him alone. This won't be a covenant but a binding. Completing the covenant is very tiring, so the class will end right here. After Teacher Yugo leaves, Yoru runs to the red-haired girl to apologize for injuring her. She just murmurs a reply to Yoru, then leaves immediately. The one-horned girl runs over to befriend Yoru, introducing herself as Ho. She hopes they can help each other from now on. After class, Yoru returns to the waiting room. Kun, bored, walks around the room. Not seeing Rak anywhere, Yoru wonders where he is. Regarding Rak, he chose the Spear Bearer class. The condition to be a spear bearer is to know how to fight at long range. Rak's test was to throw a spear and hit a target at an extremely far distance. It seems Rak feels he's not strong enough yet, so he went to train more. At this moment, the doorbell rings again. Kun checks it's Shibisu and Hatsu. They need help from Yoru's group. That night in Rachel's room, she dreams of Yoru having many more friends, then leaving with them, abandoning her alone in the darkness. During training in the position classes, candidates will live right at their residence. Here, there are all the necessities for them to live, including a canteen for meals. However, they will have to use points to buy food. The brown-haired girl is getting food when she's attracted by Yoru's group. Shibisu and Laura are sitting together. Enemies sitting together happily like this puzzles her, so she runs over to ask if she can join them. She introduces herself as Andrasi, pleased to meet them. Seeing a girl, Shibisu goes wild, immediately offering his seat to Andrasi. After sitting down, she curiously asks why they're sitting happily together like this. Hearing this, Shibisu answers right away. The entrance test for the scout class is to make friends with 9 people within a week. Going back to yesterday, Shibisu and Hatsu had come to befriend Yoru's group. Gun immediately refused. How could he befriend someone who just stole Yoru's Black March? You mean Anak? Shibisu revealed they had already cut ties with Anak. Even so, Kun still wouldn't accept befriending someone who just cut ties with their teammates. Still doesn't make sense. What followed was an argument between Kun and Hatsu, with Hatsu mocking Kun's earrings for being too flamboyant. Thankfully, thanks to Yoru, Kun finally agreed to befriend them. Back at the dining table, though Hatsu and Kun sit together, they still harbor animosity, immediately denying any suggestion of camaraderie from Shibisu. At this moment, Anak walks by and taunts Androsi. A princess sitting with these people. Aren't you afraid of being mocked? Shibisu's mouth gapes open. Androsi is a princess too? Having been discovered, Andrasi doesn't hide it anymore. She is indeed a princess, though she has no relation to Anak. It's just a title. Princesses are strong individuals chosen by the king and given the name Jahad. After the meal, Androsi's class test begins. The test is very simple. Each person is given a stick. They just need to push others off the pillar to earn points. Since the pillar is quite high, falling would likely result in injury, so everyone is fearful. As soon as the test begins, Anak rushes in to attack Androsi. Meanwhile, Kun pulls out a machine and starts checking information on the candidates. First is Rak. After 7,749 failures, he finally passed the entrance test. Next is Rachel, but there's very little information about this girl. Finally, Anak. As soon as he opens her information, Kun notices something unusual. Anak is a powerful ranker given the princess title when she reached the top of the tower, but she's supposedly already dead. Back to Anak and Androsi. Not wanting to fight, Androsi leaves Anak and runs away, casually taking down other candidates along the way. But Anak's persistent chase annoys Androsi. Anak, also annoyed, uses Shinsu to boost her speed. rushing forward to kick Androssi's pillar sideways. As she's about to deliver another blow, Androssi grabs Anak's leg and slams her straight to the ground. Now Androssi bends down to talk to Anak. From their first meeting, she had already recognized Anak. The reason she called her a fake is because Anak is the daughter of the person named Anak. Hearing these words, Anak remembers her mother. She places her hand on her forehead, sighs deeply, then slowly gets up to tell Androssi everything. Her mother was a talented and powerful person who married a husband who was the world's best chicken pie master. The only stain in her life was letting him be assassinated by her fellow princesses. This time, Anak has come to climb the tower with only one purpose: to kill all those who bear the title of princess to avenge her mother. And the first one is Androssi. Jahad, the king of the tower, was the first person to reach the top. He is the only king who built the kingdom where they now stand. The Jahad princesses are chosen by him from the strongest warriors of various tribes. The princesses are granted authority and powerful weapons, but they must bear unique restrictions. First and foremost, they cannot bear children. King Jahad does this so that the power they inherit isn't passed outside. The princesses are like shoes displayed by the king, beautiful but unused. Of course, there are still those who ignore his rules, notably Anak's mother. Back to the battle between Anak and Androssi. Anak shouts and rushes to attack Androssi frantically. Androssi merely dodges while taunting Anak, suggesting that Anak never had to endure hardship since her power was entirely inherited. Unlike Androssi, who had to work hard to earn the title of Jahad's princess. This comment infuriates Anak not endure hardship. That might be true, but so what? Anak continues to attack Androssi, who breaks her heel again mid-battle. She loses balance and gets kicked in the chest by Anak. About to fall off the pillar, Androssi refuses to fall alone and pulls Anak down with her. Lying below with injured legs, the two still argue. Suddenly, Androssi mentions Anak's mother, how kind and caring she was when Androssi first became a princess. Androssi has a question for Anak. In her mother's life, did she ever regret anything? Hearing this, Anak remembers her mother, how, even in her final moments, she cared for Anak and smiled brightly. So Anak's answer is no, and she believes that's true. Meanwhile, in the wave controller class, there's a practical exercise. Students must control Shinsu to shoot floating balloons in the sky. Ho and Rose have tried hard, but controlling Shinsu is very energy consuming, so they can only shoot about 3 balloons. After their turn comes Yoru and the girl Gray. Yoru focuses and shoots, destroying 3 balloons at once. Though his control isn't perfect, this achievement isn't bad, earning praise from teacher Yugo. After his turn, Yoru happily runs to Laura, saying he achieved this thanks to Laura's guidance. Going back to the previous night, Laura was worriedly looking for his pillow. It turns out Serena had taken it, hugging it and drooling in her sleep. While Laura shed tears, how could he sleep with a dirty pillow? So Yoru quickly made a fireproof pillow for Laura and offered to wash the dirty one. Yoru is telling this story to Ho when Kun calls him away. Afterward, Ho asks Laura about this, saying it doesn't seem like Laura at all. Laura finds it completely normal. Doesn't their team always help the weak? Ho smiles and leaves, but inside, she's very uncomfortable. Kun leads Yoru to the canteen and tells him about Anak and Androssi. They fought so intensely that they're both seriously injured. Yoru still doesn't understand why they would fight when they're both princesses. Kun thinks that's precisely why they fought. Ultimately, Kun sees them both as fools. Self-destructing to prove strength is incredibly stupid. Just then, Shibisu appears from nowhere, crying and lamenting to Yoru. He presents the friendship form. Today is the deadline, but they still haven't found 9 friends. What should they do? Yoru immediately asks Kun to help. Despite having just heard Kun say that to climb the tower, one must eliminate others. Still, Yoru believes friends should help each other. Kun sighs deeply and tells everyone to follow him. It's time for handsome Kun to show his talent. In Androssi's restroom, after paying for bandages, she's out of points to buy food, though her stomach is growling. Just then, the doorbell rings. It's Yoru and Hatsu bringing food, thinking she'd get a free meal. Androssi is surprised when Yoru doesn't immediately hand it over. Yoru begins to recall what Androssi said before, that there's no friendship between boys and girls. So what to do now? Immediately, Hatsu pulls out the name filling form, inviting Androssi to write her name on it. They promise to provide daily food for her. Hatsu, with a flushed face, begs Andrasi to accept, saying dining with a beautiful princess like Andrasi would be too fortunate. Andrasi, also embarrassed, agrees to help them. Shibisu and Kun do the exact same thing with Anak. Knowing she likes chicken pie, they specially bring it. And so, Shibisu's group has met the quota. Hatsu has to strain every facial muscle to thank Kun, though he doesn't like it at all. The next day, as usual, Rachel goes to the canteen to buy apples. About to return to her room, she overhears a conversation at Yoru's group's table. Andrasi is telling everyone about Princess Yuri's biography among all princesses. Yuri is considered a demon. While talking, Andrasi notices Rachel eavesdropping, so she follows Rachel into the bathroom. Andrasi begins to tease Rachel, a handsome, kind person like Yoru, yet Rachel left him to come here. What on earth is Rachel thinking? Rachel doesn't bother to answer and leaves. Seeing this, Andrasi offers Rachel one final piece of advice. She hopes whatever Rachel desires at the top of the tower is worth leaving Yoru behind. The next day in the Wave Controller class, watching Yoru being taught how to control Shinsu by teacher Yugo, Ho remarks to Laura that Yoru is still hiding many things from them. What exactly is Yoru's identity? After class, Ho returns to the waiting room, lying down and panting from exhaustion. Remembering a painful past, she hears the doorbell. Ho steps out to find a letter at the door. She opens it to read and is greatly alarmed. Meanwhile, Examiner Hansung has summoned Examiner Liro to announce the next test. It will be a hide-and-seek game. At this moment, Examiner Quats also arrives. For the next test, Quats will replace Liro as examiner. Having an impulsive person like Quats as an examiner, this situation isn't good, Liro thinks, holding his head in distress. The test begins. Examiner Hansung brings all candidates and explains the rules. It seems Rak has already met the class quota beforehand, so he doesn't need to participate in this test. Regarding the rules, there are a total of 28 participants divided into 2 teams. Their task is simple: just catch the devil. Each team will select one fisherman to be the devil. Examiner Hansung points out the window to a very large structure teams must protect and bring their devil to the final point, or they can attack to take the opponent team's devil badge. The winning team members will receive 100,000 points each, and the individual who takes the devil badge will get 200,000. There's a special point in this game: the examiners also have a devil, and the examiner's devil is taken by Quats. After explaining the rules, the teams are divided into different areas. In Kun's team, since Kun's position is light bearer, Shibisu suggests Kun be the team leader. Kun quickly outlines a plan first. They need bait, and everyone immediately chooses Shibisu as bait. Kun and Leon fly above Shibisu to gather information for him. Being bait like this is too obvious, and Shibisu doesn't know if Quats will fall for the trap. Kun is certain he will be lured in because Quats is an impulsive, hasty person. Just as he finishes speaking, Quats emerges from the darkness, startling Shibisu. He hurriedly runs away, but strangely, Quats doesn't want to catch Shibisu first. He knows full well that Shibisu's obvious presence here means someone is helping gather information. So what if that person can't play anymore? As he speaks, Quats teleports behind and knocks out Leon. Thinking the game is over, Quats bursts into laughter, then receives a surprise. Everything Quats did was within Kun's predictions. The devil on their team is Anak, not Shibisu. From above, Anak has been hiding, waiting for a chance to attack Quats. This is the perfect opportunity. Anak swings her green April, aiming to steal Quats's badge. It seems they've underestimated an examiner. Quats grabs the green April and pulls Anak to the ground. He frowns angrily at being schemed against by candidates. Watching from the observation room, Hansung and Liro are also fed up with him. Liro turns to tell Hansung that's why he refused to let Quats participate in the game. Liro is certain that, one way or another, Quats will beat the students to a pulp, even though they're much weaker than him. Liro wants to stop him badly, but in this game, he's restricted from using Shinsu, so the game will continue. Quats bursts into laughter and approaches Shibisu. That strategy wasn't bad at all. However, if you've been discovered, what should you do next? The students shout to change to strategy B immediately. Seeing this, Quats gives them one more chance. He'll give them 111 seconds to hide. And moreover, he won't use the elevator, only the stairs. In the observation room, Lero sighs in relief. At least Quats knows how to control himself. But something doesn't seem right. After all, Quats is a ranker in the tower. Using such a trivial strategy against him, is Kun naive or confident? Trivial? Hansung smiles, telling Lero to keep watching and he'll understand. Examiner Quats begins counting. Yoru's team is now sitting and watching them. A young man suddenly whispers in Androssi's ear, saying that though they're divided into teams, he finds it unfair that their team is full of weaklings, referring to Yoru. Androssi immediately ignores him and goes to Yoru to check on him. Seeing Androssi, Yoru immediately asks about Rachel, which annoys Androssi a bit. Back to the test, Anak has entered the elevator, and Kun has reached the emergency exit. While running, Shibisu curiously asks Kun if, with this plan, they can win. Kun isn't sure if Quats gave them 111 seconds to hide. He must have calculated something. Then Kun shouts, deploying the plan with everyone. Anak needs 10 minutes to reach the top. Since Quats declared he would only use the stairs, they will spread out and ambush at the staircase. They need to delay Quats for at least 5 minutes. If unsuccessful, they must run immediately to Kun's location. The 111 seconds are up. Quats rushes to find Kun's team. On the stairs, numerous members with spears are waiting for him. Of course, Quats knows this. He strides up the stairs and begins to quiz these people. First, about scouts, they are the ones who stand closest to enemy ranks to gather information. So what is the core element scouts need to avoid death? As he finishes speaking, Quats vanishes from everyone's sight. He circles behind, kicking the pale-faced man. The others, seeing this, throw their spears and rush to fight Quats. Of course, Quats can handle all of them. While fighting, he enlightens the big guy. Being confident in your strength is good, but you should know who your opponent is before being confident. For the big guy, you'd be more suited for the spear-bearer position. After saying this, Quats knocks him out and rushes on. The remaining people try to shoot Shinsu to stop Quats, but it's futile. On Yoru's side, Androssi advises him to be happier in this situation. Quats is causing trouble for Team A. If their team wins, Yoru's ranking will drop very low. Yoru just mumbles in response. Knowing he still has questions, Androssi sighs deeply and tells Yoru to ask away. Anak has now exited the elevator and is running down the hallway. The staircase defense team reports their failure to Kun. Hearing this, Shibisu hurriedly tells Kun to call Laura for support. Kun immediately refuses. He can't do that because Laura has been sleeping since the beginning of the match. From the preparation stage, Kun had checked Laura's information. He already has enough points to pass the test. So this test, win or lose, doesn't affect Laura at all. In the observation room, Examiner Lero is carefully observing and analyzing bit by bit. Currently, Anak is in the hallway. Running there, there's certainly nowhere to hide. Soon, Quats will catch up, and the game will end. Hearing this, Rak shouts, telling Lero not to underestimate Kun. He must have a plan. Shibisu exits the elevator and meets the four-eyed man. Seeing a teammate, Shibisu puts on a leader's tone, telling them to get into position that short red-haired devil is coming. Just as he finishes speaking, Shibisu notices his teammate sweating profusely. It turns out Quats has been standing behind Shibisu all along. Shibisu gets a thorough beating. After dealing with Shibisu and the four-eyed man, Quats rushes down the hallway. At this moment, Kun appears, blocking his way. Not seeing Anak anywhere, Quats is curious. Kun points down below. If he wants their devil, he should look down there. Quats looks for a while but doesn't see Anak anywhere. He still doesn't believe it because from this height, jumping down would mean certain death, or at least injury. Kun casually informs Quats that Anak is a Jahad princess. This height is nothing to her. Conversely, Quats is a ranker. Doesn't he dare to jump from this height? Hearing this, Quats still smiles and grabs Kun's hand. From the moment he arrived, he had detected a large amount of Shinsu under the bridge. Likely, Kun used Shinsu to help Anak hide down there. Let's see what happens to that Shinsu when Kun falls with him. With that, Quats pulls Kun off the bridge, then laughs maniacally, telling Kun to beg for his life if he doesn't want to die. Beg? Kun smirks and swats Quats's hand away. From behind Kun, the green April appears, wrapping tightly around him to prevent his fall. This catches Quats off guard, and he continues to fall. Having ditched the troublesome examiner, Anak jumps back onto the bridge and continues running. Examiner Lero is quite surprised by Kun's strategy. Quats now can't get back onto the bridge, so Team A has dramatically turned the tables. Hearing this, Hansung teases Lero, always making predictions that turn out wrong. Anak is running on the bridge, almost at her destination, when suddenly Quats appears from nowhere. He rushes to steal Anak's badge, and the test ends immediately after. In the waiting room, Kun sadly takes all the blame, saying he was too complacent when facing a ranker. Hearing this, the others don't blame Kun at all. Instead, they show great interest in his plans. Going back to a moment before Quats fell from the bridge, while cursing, Kun suddenly descends before him and invites Quats to use his Shinsu to get back onto the bridge. Examiner Hansung has explained everything to Lero. Lero finds it very puzzling why would Kun betray his teammates at the last minute. Seeing Lero still doesn't understand, Hansung shows him a form. It's Shibisu's team's form, the friendship name filling form. From the beginning, Kun had cleverly selected exactly 10 people to help them pass the test and climb the tower with him. The others in Team A were simply deceived and led by Kun to fail the test. Of course, Shibisu, Laura, Anak, and Kun already had enough points to pass regardless of the outcome, which is why Kun did this. Moving to test Team B, it seems this team isn't as united as Team A. As soon as they enter the waiting room, they're already fighting over who should be team leader. At this moment, Androssi appears. Being a princess, Androssi just has to speak up, and the team leader position is hers. After observing Team A's match, Androssi knows they cannot stop a ranker, so she changes the strategy to attrition. Those assigned tasks begin to separate to positions Androssi designates. Ho stays with Serena. At this moment, Serena, with a sad face, turns to ask Ho if he could turn against teammates they just met. She then tells Ho about her past as a thief. Ho listens and firmly answers yes, his purpose here is to climb the tower. Whoever stands in the way will be eliminated. Androssi has just exited the elevator with Yoru and 2 other guys. Suddenly, Androssi has an outburst and kicks the leader straight in the throat. She exclaims that the plan was a complete success, leaving the other guy and Yoru still not understanding what happened. Then Androssi mentions a story about a little girl who was brought to a declining noble family. This family was once among the top 10 great families. To create Jahad princesses, they adopted orphans and forced them to kill each other. Food rations were distributed based on training performance. High-ranking girls got good food, while low-ranking ones only got stale bread. Day after day, the low-ranking girls gnawed on bread, dreaming of one day tasting delicious meals. Eventually, that little girl got to eat all the best dishes. After finishing the story, she sees the others still don't understand, so Androssi explains clearly. Gathering all the fishermen to catch Examiner Quats is an extremely stupid idea. She did it with a different purpose in mind. Hearing this, one guy finally realizes Androssi's intention. She wants to eliminate them from this test. Androssi laughs, saying that's exactly right. Her performance in the previous test wasn't great, and Team B is only allowed 4 out of 6 fishermen to continue climbing the tower, so she needs to secure her spot. The pale-faced man, hearing this, fearfully tries to run away, but Androssi kicks him again, and he lies still. The armored man grabs his sword and rushes to attack Androssi. Of course, he stands no chance against the Jahad princess. After taking down these 2, Androssi turns to enlighten Yoru. This is the true purpose of climbing the tower, eliminating others to affirm one's position. If Yoru understands now, he should quickly go find Rachel while there's still time. Meanwhile, Hatsu is sweating profusely in the presence of Quats. Knowing that just 3 people here cannot stop a ranker, Hatsu shouts for his 2 teammates to do whatever they want, ambush or plan something while he tries to delay Quats. Hearing this, the other 2 immediately turn and climb up the stairs. Examiner Quats has arrived in front of Hatsu. Serena has regained her composure and is preparing to join Hatsu in battle. She turns around but doesn't see Ho anywhere. Meanwhile, Androssi is still beating her 2 teammates to a pulp. Yoru can only stand and watch before finally speaking up to stop Androssi. After all, they are teammates. Is it necessary to be so harsh with them? Androssi doesn't care. This is how the tower has always operated. Even if she doesn't beat them, weaklings like these have no right to climb the tower. Hearing this, Yoru still tries to persuade Andrasi. He mentions the past she just talked about when that little girl had to eat stale bread. Didn't she also wish to become strong? Surely these two have the same aspiration. Andrasi frowns and tells Yoru she has forgotten the taste of that stale bread. While engrossed in conversation with Yoru, Andrasi is unaware that the swordsman has gathered his strength and aims a wave of energy directly at her. Meanwhile, Hatsu is straining every muscle to hold back Examiner Quats. While fighting, he feels the overwhelming gap in skill that a rancor represents. If Quats wanted to kill Hatsu, he could do it in the blink of an eye. Hatsu reminds himself to do something while the Examiner is still toying with him. Hatsu pushes Quats away and turns to run, using the darkness to hide and then surprise attack Quats. Despite going this far, Quats still reacts in time, spinning around to grab Hatsu's face and pushing him against the wall. At this moment, Hatsu grips Quats' hand tightly. These hands have been trained since childhood to hold swords and never let go. Once Hatsu grabs something, he won't release it easily. Hatsu shouts that this is the opportunity for the other two to attack. Quats, surprised, looks back but sees no one. Hatsu stands frozen. Could it be that the other two have already fled? The truth is exactly that. These two didn't believe Hatsu could delay a rancor, so they escaped long ago. While congratulating each other, Quats appears and kicks them in the mouth. In this life, he hates traitors the most. On Andrasi's side, she takes the full attack from earlier, but remains unharmed. It turns out Yoru had rushed to block it for her. Meanwhile, Ho suddenly goes to find Rachel, calling her to follow him with the excuse of having something to discuss about Yoru. Because it concerns Yoru, Rachel follows, albeit skeptically. Suddenly, Ho pulls out a knife and puts it to Rachel's throat. He tells her someone sent him a letter, advising that if he kills Rachel, Yoru will abandon climbing the tower. In the examiner's room, Liro has discovered this situation. He turns to call Examiner Hansung, but Hansung casually continues drinking tea, refusing to stop the test. Yoru recovers from the attack. Earlier, he heard everything Andrasi advised, but he cannot do as she suggests. Betraying teammates and attacking them is not in his dictionary. Yoru came here with a single purpose, to protect Rachel. Even if it makes her hate him, he will still do it. With that, Yoru leaves, abandoning Andrasi with the other two guys. Ho leads Rachel away, still holding the knife to her neck. As they walk, he laments about Yoru. If only he could eliminate him, Ho would accept any price. Just then, Examiner Quats appears from nowhere, and Yoru steps out from the shadows. This makes Ho break into a cold sweat, still not understanding what's happening. Why is Quats here? Shouldn't he be catching devils now? Ho immediately recalls that the letter might be a trap. He shouts loudly, pressing the knife against Rachel's throat, threatening both not to come closer. Then Ho turns to order Yoru to attack Quats, or he'll kill Rachel. To protect Rachel, Yoru has no choice but to obey. Examiner Quats sighs deeply, then zips past Yoru. Yoru's entire body stiffens. Quats whispers in his ear that this is a Shinsu locking technique. Yoru should use it on Ho, and he'll save Rachel. After saying this, Quats leaves. Ho still doesn't understand what's happening. Suddenly, Rachel resists and pushes him away. Yoru seizes this opportunity to rush forward. Taken by surprise, Ho stabs Rachel in the back before Yoru can use Shinsu to lock him. Yoru holds Rachel in his arms, still not understanding why Ho would go this far. Ho bursts into tears and tells Yoru about his past. It was because of strong people like Yoru that he lost all his loved ones. It's not that Ho wanted to kill Rachel. He simply wanted to prevent Yoru from climbing the tower anymore. After saying this, Ho takes the knife beside him and ends his own life. At this moment, Serena runs to Ho, but it's too late, he's already dead. Andrasi also appears from somewhere, with Chono's sword in her hand. Serena angrily slaps Andrasi in the face. How dare a traitor like her appear here? Andrasi ignores this and turns to remind Yoru that today's events are just the beginning. The higher he climbs, the more he'll witness such things as everyday occurrences. One person cannot have everything, so Yoru must learn to accept it. With that, Andrasi leaves with Examiner Quats. The two of them go to an open space to resolve this test immediately. Quats also wants a quick resolution and rushes to attack Andrasi. Unexpectedly, Yoru uses Shinsu to shoot directly at him, surprising Quats. So this is Yoru's answer. Androsi smiles, acknowledging it. Serena still sits beside Ho's body, lamenting that life is unfair. The strong take everything from them, and then find another path. When the weak try to reclaim what's theirs, they're prevented. But thinking back, Serena has never put her all into fighting, always finding excuses because she fears death. Then she watches as what's hers is taken away. Perhaps this is why she can never become strong. Androsi and Quats rush into battle, while Yoru stands from afar, trying to assist Androsi with Shinsu. With his speed, Quats suddenly accelerates and steals the jacket with Androsi's badge. Androsi, without a word, approaches and rests her head on Quats's shoulder. This makes him think she has accepted defeat. But that's not the case. The jacket Quats just took doesn't have a badge inside. Androsi smiles and jumps backward. She has brilliantly deceived Quats, approaching him and pretending to surrender only to find an opportunity to steal his badge. Thus, Team B has won, though Team A members still can't believe it. At the dining table, Rak is trying to describe the big guy in Androsi's team. Just a moment ago, he was sitting eating chocolate with him. But now he's nowhere to be found. About him, Androsi also doesn't know when she first met him. He was already with Rachel. What she says is true, so it's up to Rak whether to believe it or not. Kun leaves his meal and returns to his room. From the beginning, he knew only 2 wave controllers would advance, and Laura already had enough points, so the remaining candidates would be Yoru, Gray, and Karen. While checking the information, Karen appears from somewhere to inform Kun that she has no intention of continuing. Karen comes to advise Kun on one thing: to pay attention to Ho, as there will come a time when her jealousy becomes uncontrollable and causes trouble. That's why Kun sent Ho that anonymous letter, causing Ho to hold Rachel hostage and threaten Yoru. During Team A's test, Kun had whispered to Examiner Quats to watch out for Ho, helping Kun's plan go smoothly. In Princess Yuri's group, Yuri is very annoyed. The test ended ages ago, but Raven still hasn't found a way down there. She gives Raven a bit more time. If he fails, he should prepare for a beating. Kun is thinking when Rak keeps banging on the door, which annoys Kun. He opens the door to scold him, but finds a baby crocodile in front of him. It turns out Rak accidentally bumped into Examiner Hansung and was shrunk by him. Rak comes to ask Kun to return him to normal, but Kun doesn't know magic to help. So Rak wants to find Yoru to play. Hearing this, Kun holds Rak back, saying it's no longer necessary. Yoru has found Rachel. He surely won't climb the tower anymore. Rak doesn't care and points directly at Kun's face, asking if Kun will accept that. Kun understands he doesn't want that either, but can't do anything about it. Just then, Yoru comes to find them. Kun thinks Yoru has come to announce he's stopping his climb, but no, currently, Rachel is too severely injured to continue. Therefore, Yoru has decided to become her legs and continue climbing the tower in Rachel's place. Looking at Yoru's determined eyes reminds Kun of his old crush. Perhaps if Maria had been like Yoru, able to throw everything away just for the person she liked, they would be living happily now. Kun stands up and pats Yoru's shoulder, telling him to trust in Kun. He will definitely bring Yoru to the top of the tower. As they prepare for the next action, Yoru speaks up again, saying he still has one more request. In Serena's room, 2 cups of wine pour and drink themselves, inviting her deceased friend Ho. Suddenly, Serena's pocket lights up, so she follows it. It turns out Yoru has organized a funeral to bid farewell to Ho. Yoru not only calls Serena, but all those he considers friends. Examiner Liro also comes to pay respects. After placing flowers for Ho, everyone returns to the canteen. Shibisu presides over Ho's farewell ceremony. No one is allowed to cry, as they believe if they cry, Ho won't be able to reincarnate. Meanwhile, Yoru takes Rachel to the mountain top to view the scenery. Suddenly, Rachel bursts into tears, saying she abandoned Yoru, left him just to gaze at the stars. She's no longer the Rachel that Yoru liked, so he should just ignore her. Rachel hangs her head. Hearing these words, Yoru recalls a beam of light, a light that pierced through the dark night. It was Rachel who brought that light into Yoru's life. So even if Yoru has many new friends, Rachel will still be the only one who came to him from the other side of the light. Rachel looks at Yoru with wide eyes, then apologizes to him. Afterward, they return to the drinking table. Everyone is tipsy, so they're not like their usual selves. Seeing Yoru arrive, Hatsu rushes to hug him and pulls him to the table. Laura suddenly thanks Serena, though it's unclear what for Laura just naturally feels the need to thank her. The group drinks until late at night. When everyone is completely drunk, Serena quietly pulls her luggage and leaves. She thought no one would see her off, but Shibisu had discovered this long ago. He steps out of the room and calls to Serena. Serena just smiles and throws Shibisu her dagger. In the future, they will meet again, and she hopes Shibisu will use the dagger well to protect his life. Kun seeks out Examiner Liro for help. Meanwhile, in a dark cave, Examiner Yugo is reporting information to someone. His mission here isn't to be an examiner, but to retrieve the Black March and Green April. Suddenly, Examiner Hansung appears. It turns out Yugo is an assassin sent by the Jahad royal family. Despite being discovered, Yugo remains interested. He has long wanted to compete with Hansung. He summons a monster to attack Hansung, but immediately, Yugo's pet is bitten off its head by something much larger. So this is Hansung's true strength. Yugo is about to get more serious when Hansung speaks to stop him. If Yugo's mission is to retrieve the treasures, then Hansung is willing to help him accomplish that. This is simply because those tests are only to determine who is a threat to the tower. And if someone is a threat, they must be eliminated. After saying this, Hansung turns to return to his room. By now, Examiner Liro has come to find him. Liro just had a private conversation with Kun. Kun showed Liro the paper Ho received, reasoning that only those who knew beforehand that Rachel and Ho would be on the same team could create such a perfect trap. Before Liro can say anything to Hansung, Hansung smiles and pats Liro's shoulder, hoping nothing goes wrong during the results announcement. The test results announcement takes place. First, the fishermen who passed are Andrasi, Anak, Kancho, and Blaraus. The spear bearers are Rak, Akiryu, and Alexei. But since Akiryu isn't present, he will be disqualified. For scouts, Shibisu, Hatsu, and Nair pass. Wave controllers are Yoru and Laura. Finally, for light bearers, Kun and Rachel pass. However, due to her injuries, Rachel will be disqualified. As soon as the results are announced, someone is already dissatisfied. The big guy shouts that he doesn't accept this result. Immediately, Hansung calls him down. Hansung asks him to prove he's qualified to pass the test, then starts shooting Shinsu all over him. The man screams in pain and finally faints in front of everyone. Thinking that after this lesson, no one would oppose anymore, Kun speaks up and is called down. In front of Hansung, Kun requests that they allow Rachel to continue. Naturally, Hansung cites the rules and refuses. But unexpectedly, Kun had prepared for this. He requests a challenge from the tower's administrator to adjudicate this matter. The reason Kun knows about this is because Liro told him. In the past, King Jahad himself participated in this test before he could become the king of the tower. All rules can be changed according to the administrator's wishes. Hearing this, Hansung turns to leave, saying Kun knows quite a lot. But he missed the most important thing. According to the rules, only those who opened the tower's door themselves have the right to negotiate with the administrator. Upon hearing this, Yoru immediately stands up, declaring to Hansung that he is an irregular. He will accept this challenge. Hansung smiles and leads Yoru away. He takes him and Rachel to a room, saying he and Rachel can only bring Yoru this far. From now on, it's entirely up to Yoru's efforts. In Kun's group, Shibisu is explaining to everyone what an irregular is. Examiner Liro chimes in to explain to them. Irregulars, as the name suggests, are people who enter the tower of their own accord. They are people who can break the tower's rules. Are they good or bad? The answer is both. Irregulars can bring disaster to them, or they can help them climb the tower in the simplest and easiest way. Whether to help Yoru or not is entirely their choice. As soon as he finishes speaking, there are opposing opinions. Kun speaks up, not wanting to help Yoru, while the crocodile curses Kun as a coward. The two argue and are about to fight when Shibisu stops the crocodile. Acting too bland, everyone's fallen asleep. It turns out Kun is doing this just to rally everyone to help Yoru. But he didn't need to go that far. Everyone heroes Yoru, so they're willing to help him at any cost. But first, they need to see if Yoru can pass the administrator's challenge. Yoru enters the room and sees the Shinsu with which he previously made a covenant. The administrator already knew Yoru would come seeking him and asks Yoru to state his wish. Outside, while Hansung is questioning Rachel, Yoru emerges. The administrator has accepted Yoru's request, so Hansung has no reason to prevent Rachel from participating in the test anymore. The final test will be a fish hunting test. The candidates gather in the meeting room to hear Hansung explain the rules. This time, Rachel and Yoru will be prey for the mandal fish to hunt. These fish have a habit of going out to hunt once a day and bringing food back to the mandal king. Yoru and Rachel will be in a Shinsu bubble. If they are swallowed by the mandal fish and released at another location, they will be considered to have completed the test. Hearing this, Rak still doesn't understand that's the task for Yoru and Rachel. But what will the rest of them have to do? Hansung continues explaining. In nature, hunters also become hunting targets. Nearby is a natural predator of the mandal fish, the Oni tribe. They use giant worms to steal what the mandal fish catch. If they succeed, the test fails. That's not all. These mandal fish are particularly afraid of striped pigs. If they appear nearby, the mandal fish will stop hunting. Kun roughly understands their mission. Now they just need to protect the mandal fish so they can hunt successfully. Examiner Hansung smiles, saying it's at least that simple. But in case they're unlucky, a giant creature that devours everything may appear. This creature is so powerful that even rankers have to retreat. Then Hansung turns to remind Yoru that if he's afraid, he can still withdraw now. Yoru immediately refuses, saying he has absolute trust in his friends. After the explanation, the test begins. Yoru and Rachel stand in the Shinsu bubble and sink to the bottom of the lake. Seeing Rachel a bit worried, Yoru reassures her not to worry, though they may not look it. Kun and Rak are both stronger and smarter than they appear. Above on the shore, Kun, as team leader, begins distributing the plan to everyone. Since the Shinsu lighthouse cannot go underwater, they must consolidate their defense on land. Hatsu's group is assigned to observe the Oni demon's actions. Rak and the spear bearers stand on high ground watching for earthworms. Shibisu's group will report immediately when wild pigs appear. While focusing on observation, Kun turns around to find the two princesses and their group already gone. The examiners sit in another room monitoring. Quats remarks that this test is a bit odd. There's an extremely easy way to pass without expending any effort. Princess Yuri has now found her way down to the testing area. Before them is an abyss. According to what Raven knows, they just need to jump down. It seems quite high, making Raven hesitate. Before he can think further, Yuri goes first. She rushes over and kicks Raven straight down. Shibisu sits on watch, complaining of boredom. Kun asks if he feels this test is very risky. Shibisu smiles and replies that the exact reason is that Ho spoke well on Yoru's behalf. And the other reason is simply that Shibisu doesn't want Yoru to lose important things. Just then, Hatsu anxiously reports to Kun that Kancho's group has disappeared. Coincidentally, Shibisu also senses something behind him and goes to check. His face turns pale at what appears before him. It's the Aoshi monster that Examiner Hansung mentioned. Kun urgently tells Shibisu to flee. The Aoshi is already standing right in front of Shibisu, but strangely, it doesn't attack him. Instead, it turns to target a nearby mandal fish. Not wanting the fish to die, Shibisu bravely grabs a stone and throws it at the monster's back. Despite this, it still ignores Shibisu. Shibisu's face drops. How dare it ignore him? He pulls out the dagger Serena gave him and rushes to stab the monster's back. It screams and flings Shibisu away. Now it can't ignore him anymore. The Aoshi turns to chase Shibisu, who almost ends up in its stomach. But fortunately, Anak and Androssi appear. They've come to hunt the Aoshi, but neither wants to yield to the other. So Androssi proposes a bet with Anak. Each person has 5 minutes to fight. If Androssi can defeat it within 5 minutes, the 2 swords Anak possesses will be hers. If Anak succeeds, Androssi promises to be Anak's slave for life. Meanwhile, Rak is also quite bored. He turns to threaten his friend Para, warning him to entertain him or he'll chew his head off. Just then, Hatsu announces that the Oni have moved. Kun reminds everyone to get into position immediately. They only have one chance. If they fail, the test will end. Below in the lake, the mandal fish have begun creating a fishing net. Since they're underwater, Kun cannot know exactly what they're doing and is worried. At this moment, Nair suddenly calls Kun. presenting a bottle and declaring she has a way to help him. Anak counts each second while Andrasi fights the Aushi. It seems this monster isn't as strong as Examiner Hansung threatened. Andrasi completely outclasses it. Suddenly, the Aushi screams and turns to flee. Anak doesn't bother counting anymore and immediately gives chase. Andrasi does the same, not knowing this is a trap set by Examiner Yugo. Nair now controls an animal searching around an open area. According to Kun's prediction, there should be an underground passage here, and Kun's prediction is entirely correct. Conversely, Kun is very surprised by Nair's abilities. She is a beast master, and the animal she controls can locate using sound waves, making it even more advantageous in this situation. Kun then asks Nair if a beast master like her can control Mandal fish or the Aushi monster. Nair cannot yet do this because her power is insufficient, but rankers certainly can. Andrasi pursues the Aushi into a dark cave. Suddenly, the Aushi appears and attacks her. Somehow, in this cave, it's much stronger. It shoots out a tentacle that wraps tightly around Andrasi's body, making it impossible for her to escape. Then it squeezes hard, causing Andrasi to gradually pass out. Anak is also searching through the cave. From behind, Yugo appears and taunts Anak, pulling out the necklace that Anak's mother once used. He introduces himself as Ren, one of the enemies Anak has been seeking. Anak loses control, activates the Green April, and begins battling him. The giant worms are very close to the lake now, but Kun still hasn't ordered Rak's group to engage. Meanwhile, Yoru is still singing an imaginary song with Rachel. When asked by the examiner about his wish at the top of the tower, Yoru answered that it was Rachel's face and a restaurant where all his friends could gather. Anak rushes to attack Yugo frantically. From his mouth, he releases countless monsters that push Anak back. She still refuses to give up and charges again. Then suddenly, something sharp shoots through Anak's chest. Meanwhile, Kun has ordered Hatsu to return and gather with the spear bearers. Somehow, an Oni has discovered Hatsu. Hatsu is about to deal with it quickly and leave when a spear flies down from the sky, alerting the distant Oni. It's Para who threw it, his eyes wide with shock, not understanding why he did that. Discovered by the Oni, Rak and Hatsu have to grab Para and flee quickly. Despite taking a piercing blow to the chest, Anak still tries to crawl to her sword. Yugo swallows the Green April. He was about to kill Anak, but reconsidered doing it hastily wouldn't be fun. Then he commands the Aushi to bring Andrasi here, letting both know that from the beginning, this fish hunting game was created just to eliminate the fake Princess Anak. Yugo throws the Green April to Andrasi, demanding she kill Anak to correct her mistake. Beneath the lake, as the net tightens, Yoru's body suddenly begins to glow. Andrasi struggles to get up, takes the Green April, and approaches Anak. Shibisu is still fumbling around looking for them, calling out loudly for the princesses. Just as he thinks they've been eaten, Shibisu's entire body begins to tremble violently. Fearfully turning around, he sees Yuri's figure appear. Andrasi puts the Green April to Anak's neck, smiles, and tells Anak they should resolve this once and for all. Then they'll sit and have lunch together. Then Andrasi extends her hand, asking Anak to give her the Black March. Yoru runs to hold Rachel's hand in encouragement. Though he doesn't know what that light is, he knows it's not a bad thing. Kun is anxiously hacking into the underground pipe system, but the speed isn't as fast as he anticipated. Meanwhile, Anak throws the Black March to Andrasi. She receives the Green April, then jumps into the air and activates its power. Anak creates a whirlwind that pushes Yugo back. From within the whirlwind, the Green April shoots repeatedly, attacking Yugo. Andrasi also seizes this opportunity to rush in and attack. Without the Aushi beside him, this guy seems unable to fight against the two princesses and is overwhelmed, eventually being slammed into the wall by Anak. Meanwhile, Rak is still carrying Para and running away, with countless Oni chasing behind them. Rak runs to a mountain peak and suddenly stops. He shouts that running away doesn't suit his style, then turns back, jumps over the Oni demons, and lands directly on the back of a giant worm. On Andrasi's side, she's about to finish off Yugo when he suddenly sighs deeply. Perhaps that's enough. He shoots a beam of light straight at Andrasi, then rushes to kick Anak in the stomach and stomps her to the ground. With just 2 moves, he completely subdues both of them. Since Andrasi didn't do as he requested, He must kill her here and now. He laughs maniacally and begins stomping hard on Anak, making her cry out in pain. While enjoying this pleasure, a stone hits his head from behind. At first, he doesn't care, but as more stones come, he angrily turns to curse. From the darkness, Yuri emerges, asking what he's doing to her sister. Seeing Yuri, Hugo immediately changes his attitude. He introduces himself as an assassin of the royal family sent here to retrieve the 13-month series. After explaining clearly to Yuri, he turns to finish off Anak, but is stopped by Yuri, who tells him to get lost. She will personally handle this task. Meanwhile, Rak stands on the back of the giant worm, dodging weapons thrown by the Oni. From below, they begin climbing up to approach them. Para fearfully laments, wondering if he'll lose his life here. The Oni are very close now, and Para doesn't know what to do except close his eyes tightly. When he opens them, he sees the whole group flying in the sky. Para's face darkens as he just awakened a new power. Of course not, it's Laura who has come to save them. When ordered by Yuri to leave, Hugo appears extremely displeased. He threatens that if King Jahad learns of this, Yuri will be punished. This statement makes Yuri narrow her eyes at him. A lowly assassin dares to threaten a princess. She gives Hugo one last chance. Leave quickly or she will kill him. Hugo bursts into laughter, his body trembling with excitement. Then he shoots monsters from his mouth to attack Yuri. After an explosion, Yuri is completely unharmed, only the monster's blood is splattered everywhere. This will be self-defense. In the blink of an eye, Yuri appears before Hugo and flicks his forehead once. Taking this hit would certainly mean death, so Hugo hastily dodges to the side. Anak watches, sweating profusely, so this is the power of a true Jahad princess. With Rak's group, a herd of wild pigs suddenly emerges from the bellies of the earthworms. Everyone immediately understands this is Kun's plan. Nair steps forward to explain more clearly. From the beginning, Kun knew the mandal fish went underwater through a tunnel, and these wild pigs would do the same. So Kun asked Laura to break the tunnels where these pigs would pass through, leading them here. Now they just need to wait for the two sides to fight each other to death. Kun now speaks up, asking everyone's permission to decide the rest on his own. He still has matters requiring rest. From behind, someone from Yuri's group has come to find Kun. It turns out to be Kun's brother, who has come with a clear purpose. Though not yet knowing what it is, Kun has already drawn his knife for self-defense. Of course, his brother is aware and stops him. In the observation room, the examiners have discovered Yuri's presence. Quats wants to go there to resolve the situation, but is refused by Hansong, who reasons that this is a test created by the administrator, so they have no right to interfere. Kun's brother then leans in to whisper in Kun's ear, asking if he wants to see Princess Maria again. He will help Kun fulfill that wish. Hugo shoots lightning at Yuri continuously, but she remains unfazed, blocking while yawning. Meanwhile, Raven is urgently leading the big guy Kiruden to find Yuri, just as Hansung appears to invite them for tea. Raven directly states his purpose. This time, he and Princess Yuri came for the Black March. Before he can finish, Hansung cuts him off, saying he won't participate in whatever they're planning to do. Yuri, having defeated Hugo, is about to kill him when Raven speaks up to stop her. There's no need to help Anak at all. Yuri pauses for a moment, then turns to leave. This makes Hugo laugh. Such a decision is indeed smart. But he's wrong. From the sky, Paradak swoops down and kills him instantly. If Yuri doesn't act, her subordinate will do it for her. Meanwhile, Kun has brushed aside his brother's suggestion, telling him he's not climbing the tower for the princess. About to attack his brother, Hatsu appears to stop him. Kun's brother smiles, praising Kun for having good teammates, then leaves. Meanwhile, under the lake, the Mandal King has begun opening its jaws to gather fish. Yoru keeps reassuring Rachel. Hugo has been beaten flat by Paradak, but he manages to gasp out his final words, wanting to meet that irregular. It's too late because now the Aoshi is heading toward Yoru. Underwater, the Aoshi suddenly appears and attacks Yoru frantically. Yuri doesn't accept this test and shouts to cancel it. At this point, Examiner Hansung speaks up to remind her that this is impossible. If this test is cancelled, Yoru will immediately fail. Yuri was about to ignore this when Anak suddenly shouts that they will climb the tower together, so Yoru will surely know what to do in this situation. Yoru is beaten badly by the Aoshi, which then rushes to swallow him. Still using the old tactic, if you can't defeat it from the outside, attack from within. The Aoshi doesn't know Yoru has gathered Shinsu beforehand, just waiting for it to swallow him to explode it immediately. After hearing Anak's declaration, Yuri temporarily trusts Yoru and stops. She approaches to seize the green April, saying she will keep it temporarily until Anak is qualified to use it, then return it. Then she throws a hairpin to Shibisu, asking him to give it to Yoru and tell him to bring it to the 77th floor. Then she and Paradak leave. Just as Yoru finishes off the Aoshi, the Mandal King sucks fish into its stomach. He smiles, promising Rachel he will definitely take her to the top of the tower. Rachel takes Yoru's hand, then suddenly pushes him out of the Shinsu bubble, to Yoru's astonishment. Recalling the first day Rachel set foot in this tower, she thought her luck had finally arrived. But Administrator Hedon appeared to pour cold water on her face. The tower had not called Rachel to enter at all. Hearing this, Rachel knelt down and begged Hedon for a chance to climb the tower. So Hedon gave Rachel a chance, creating the electric eel test for her to try. Looking at the huge fish swimming in the tank, Rachel was afraid, turning back to lament to Hedon that she couldn't pass this test without a weapon. It was unfair to her. Hedon didn't want to explain much. He used Shinsu to surround Rachel and make her invisible. That was when Yoru arrived. Rachel stood beside him, observing everything, from Yoru borrowing Yuri's sword to him entering the tank to fight the giant eel. After Yoru and Yuri had left, Hedon dissolved the Shinsu for Rachel. She fell to her knees, coughing. Hedon looked at Rachel with contempt. Just a little Shinsu, and she was already exhausted to this extent. That's precisely why the tower didn't call Rachel's name. Hearing these words, Rachel remained undeterred. No matter what Hedon said, she still wanted to climb the tower, still wanted to see the stars at the top. Rachel knelt down, banging her head on the ground, begging Hedon for a chance, promising she would do anything. Hedon smiled and gave Rachel a special mission. Very simple: if she could kill Yoru, she would be allowed to continue climbing the tower. Hearing this, Rachel hurriedly asked Hedon for a weapon. Yoru had the Black March, a weapon too powerful for her to kill Yoru without a weapon of her own. Hedon laughed, not refusing but directly giving Rachel a bodyguard from hell, that tall, big man in Rachel's team. During the crown game test, Rachel pretended to protect Yoru, hoping someone would help her kill him, but in the end, no one succeeded. After the test ended, Rachel went to Seikun, asking him to hide her identity, with the purpose of not letting Yoru know too soon, waiting for the best opportunity to eliminate him. But having obtained a powerful weapon, Rachel's body refused to obey her wishes. Day by day, the tests became more stringent. With her current points, Rachel knew she couldn't pass. She needed to kill Yoru immediately, but kept delaying, unable to do it. At this point, Kevin sought her out to advise. If she had given up, she didn't need to delay anymore. If she hadn't wanted to stop, she should participate in the next trouble. At that time, Rachel would just need to follow the signal Kevin gave. Though Rachel still didn't understand Kevin's meaning, when she was held at knife point by Ho, Rachel tried to act as best she could, allowing herself to be stabbed and then staying by Yoru's side. Of course, the Hell bodyguard had taken Ho's knife blow for her, so she didn't feel any pain at all. Rachel lay motionless, pretending to be severely injured, asking if doing this was enough for her to continue climbing the tower. And so the plan unfolded. The opportunity to kill Yoru was approaching. Now she just needed to wait for the best opportunity. Yoru was so kind, yet life pushed Rachel to kill him. The more she stayed by Yoru's side, the more she just wanted Yoru to run away. To run so she wouldn't have to kill him. She wasn't a beam of light in Yoru's life at all, just a pile of dirty mud. His words meant nothing to Rachel. To see the stars at the top of the tower, Rachel still decided she had to kill Yoru to reclaim that opportunity. But when she saw Yoru smiling happily with his friends, Rachel was genuinely shaken and wanted to give up. At this moment, Examiner Hansung whispered in her ear, giving Rachel one last chance to climb the tower. There was no turning back now. Rachel was in the Shinsu bubble with Yoru. They had shared all their past stories, until Yoru mentioned the words Hedon had said to him, asking what Yoru's wish was at the top of the tower. That's when Rachel realized the real star here was Yoru, not her. Her appearance here was simply due to her own obstinacy. She had absolutely no Shinsu power or physical strength to climb the tower. Looking at Yoru's naive smile until the last minute, Rachel still wanted to see the stars more. And so she made the biggest decision of her life. She would replace Yoru in seeing that starry sky, replacing him to continue climbing the tower. In the final moment, Rachel pushed Yoru out of the Shinsu bubble, while she was swallowed by the Mandal King. Rachel woke up dreamily with Yoru's teammates beside her, continuously asking where Yoru had gone. Rachel only told them that she and Yoru were attacked by the Aoshi, then pretended to faint. That night, Kevin came to congratulate Rachel. The plan had succeeded, and Rachel would be allowed to continue climbing the tower. Examiner Liro had searched the entire testing area, but couldn't find Yoru's body anywhere, only a piece of his clothing. Yoru must be in the fish's stomach by now. After Examiner Liro left, Rak screamed to high heaven. Everyone had tears in their eyes hearing this terrible news. Meanwhile, Liro had gone to confront Hansung, asking for clarity. From the beginning, he knew Hansung was planning something, but didn't expect it to go this far. Now Liro could no longer bear it. Hearing this, Hansung just smiled, telling Liro it was entirely Rachel's choice. He hadn't intervened in the matter at all. As for Shibisu's group, Hatsu spoke up, reminding everyone that they all owed Yoru a debt, and debts must be repaid. Kun agreed with what Hatsu said, though he didn't like it. From now on, they would help Rachel in the process of climbing the tower in Yoru's place. After the argument with Examiner Hansung, Liro resigned from his position and went to find Quats. Quats had also been dismissed after this incident, so Liro told Quats his next intention. From now on, Liro would climb the tower again as a ranker to seek the truth, and invited Quats to join him. Below the lake, on Hansung's orders, Kevin went to check. Before her eyes was Yoru, still alive and grinning, completely unharmed, which surprised Kevin quite a bit. Indeed, an irregular could remain safe in any situation. The candidates who completed the test were now officially climbing the tower. Standing beside Rachel, Kun appeared quite displeased. Though Yoru cared for her so much, Rachel didn't appreciate it at all. Rachel didn't care about Kun's words, she just wanted to see the stars. After that, they were teleported away by Examiner Hansung. Meanwhile, below ground, Yoru finally woke up. Despite being betrayed by Rachel, Yoru still cared for her, making Kevin wonder if Yoru was stupid or just the ultimate simp. Yoru couldn't believe Rachel would betray him, ignoring Kevin's words. Afterward, Kevin pointed upward, saying the answer lay at the top of the tower. If Yoru hadn't died this time, he should continue climbing. Go up there to find the answer. Yoru struggled to get up, telling Kevin that the answer didn't lie at the top of the tower. He would find the answer himself. He would continue climbing the tower, determined to ask Rachel clearly why she did this to him. And that is the story of Rachel, a girl who wanted to see the stars, and Yoru, the ultimate devoted follower. The story ends, opening up another, more exciting story.